We have a clean 88 extended cab long bed 2-wheel drive. Don't see very many of these. It's an automatic transmission. Plan for this one is basically cut everything off and make it 4-wheel drive. So we have a Chevy Dana 60 Kingpin as well as a Dana 70U rear with another automatic floor shift dual case setup. This truck is column shift, so we'll be swapping out the column to get it all working with the floor shift. So first off, we're going to start with the rear suspension. We're going to pull the axle out, take everything off, and drop the suspension out entirely and start fabbing up the new suspension. This is going to be a pretty simple build. So the rear will be Chevy 63s and the front will be rears up front. So very basic, simple build, but sometimes those are all you need and a lot of fun. So let's get to it. Yanked all the pieces out. The shackles are nice and rusty. That's a normal Toyota thing, and these ones are rusted in, so we're gonna have to cut them out. But everything else is stripped down, so we're ready to pull the axle. So that's what's next. Well, there's a few ways to do this. You can either torch them and heat everything up and just pull it all out. You can cut the bolt heads off, or you can just cut the brackets off. Since we aren't using them, we're gonna be building new brackets. So that's what we're gonna do, quickest and easiest. After we cut these off, we tacked them back on just to make it easy. I had this little jig that I made, and that just helps me locate it, make it super simple to get it all mocked up. So with this style of bracket, it's a flush mount. So what we'll do is we'll get it all flush, we'll mark it out, and then we'll chop out that section of the frame, and then get it all centered up in there. Everything fitted, and to do a couple measurements and get it all square and tack it in. So for prepping the axle, we're going to cut everything off. We'll put all new mounts on it. We're going to do adjustable mounts, plus this is going to be a little bit different width than the Toyota is. So we're going to chop leaf spring mounts off and get the shock mounts off and clean up the whole tube, so that way you can place everything where we need it. Front side spring hangers are in. We got everything hand tight here so we can still move it around side to side and set pinion angle. Right now pinion angle doesn't matter since we're trying to figure out the shackle angle. So I have a 5-inch shackle, so what you can do is you can set the vehicle on weight with some pieces of wood. I usually use 2x4s, 2x6s. For a 5-inch shackle you use about 3-ish, but to make that 5 inches, and then what you can do is put the weight of the vehicle on it and then measure for your angle, and it just makes it really easy to find your location for your shackle. Rear suspension is all mocked up. The tire is centered in the wheel well, so the front got welded. The shackle angle on the rear is about where we want it, but right now to finish up the rear we got to set pinion angle, which means we need to swap out for the 4-wheel drive transfer case. And in doing that, there is really no way to fit it without cutting out that cross member, which means we got to start the solid axle swap in the front before we can even put the transfer case in. So that being said, once that's all done and mocked up, then we can come back to the rear and make the height where we want it, and then we can get the pinion angle set and start mocking up shocks and all that. So it's kind of as far as we can go at the moment until we get the front figured out. So to start the front, we're going to take the trigger off the lift, roll it out, turn it around, and put it back on so we just have more space to work on the front. We got the thing turned around, back up in the air. Put some stands under the rear axle just because we're going to take a lot of weight off the front. So just to make sure it doesn't get too light. Gonna start tearing down the front end, get all the suspension out, and get the transmission pulled and start working on it from there.